Welcome to Retro Gubbins. This time, a wooden Spectrum. So this project started from a kind donation to the games collection, which arrived in a rather large box at the office. Thankfully they're used to me having Christmas every week. I didn't really know what to expect, having only been given a quick idea of what I was being made custodian of. Taking advantage here of some good weather to open this outside on the patio table where there's a bit more room. Let's see what's in here. Looks like there's a printer in here too. There appears to be 3 inner parcels. This one looks suspiciously like the printer to go with that paper feed. Let's try and get this open. It's well packaged. I'll just set this down gently. Apparently I have no idea where the camera is. A Star LC10 colour 9-pin dot matrix printer. Nice. This box seems to have all kinds in it. Got the manual for the printer, desktop publishing, some discs which look like they're full of games, and a load of bits of paper, seemingly some notes from the original owner. I'll have to have a look at these later. Oh, it's a sheet of all the fonts the printer can do. That's handy. Oh no, this is something I wasn't expecting. It's a brochure for the Sam Coupe, complete with prices, different bits of kit you can buy. This is nice, I'll keep this. Looks like the Specky's owner was considering an upgrade. Let's stick all this back in the box. I'll give it a proper look at later. Let's get on with the main parcel. Looks like they've Tipp-X'd each key and put all the 48k keywords and symbols on by hand. That must have taken some doing. That's a satisfying clunk. Around the back we've got a Centronics printer cable, the cassette leads, RF out and a plug. Looks like we may have lost a button into the case here. Snap indeed. Right, that's enough glamour shots. Let's go inside before it rains and take this thing apart. The front and back sections are both screwed on separately, but I've heard some rattling around in the back, so I think we should start there. I don't know about you, but I think the rattling was probably that big power supply. That's a strange angle. It looks like this interface has come loose too. It does feature a snapshot button though, saving onto disk. For a Spectrum, this is seriously serious storage. Time to open up that keyboard, see how exactly they've attached a +2 keyboard to a 48k motherboard. Well, the answer to that is with 2 2 small custom PCBs. Well, that's one way to mount a power switch. Whoever the original owner was certainly liked tinkering. Sadly, a lot of the construction was done with wood glue, and time's not been good to it, which explains why the power supply leans like it does. You'll see this as I take the rest of this apart. And finally we see the beating heart, hopefully, of our machine. It's an issue 3 48K speccey. Slightly dusty, but generally looks okay. So the plan now is to just disconnect everything that's in here and see if the machine works on its own. This explains the Sam Coupe leaflet. It's an MGT plus D disc interface, MGT also being the manufacturers of the Sam Coupe. They probably threw the leaflet in the hope someone would buy one. Oh look, a moving in gift for the Spectrum in his new home. Actually being used to lift up the disc interface to meet up with the back of the speccey. Novel. So here's the source of the rattling, and more evidence of wood glue. When I put this back together, I'll be using screws. A nice little ventilation grill, like you'd find on a speaker or an amp. I'm guessing that power supply puts out some heat. For the sake of testing, I'm just going to plug this into the TV using RF. I'm going to use a decent power supply that I got from the Future Was 8-bit, rather than trust the original. So this test is truly the first time I've plugged this in, so tune it in and see if it works. I've absolutely no idea if it does or not. Well, there you go, it works. It was probably saved by the fact the power supply and all the rest of the Gubbins was kept separate from the motherboard, otherwise that thing moving around in the post would have absolutely killed it. Even the keyboard works fine. Well, now we know that works, I've plugged all the disc bits back in and we have a light. This looks promising. So this switch turns on the power supply to the massive disk drive. And by typing run and pressing enter, it will test that the ROM is working in the interface and will turn the light on the drive if the drive is functioning. Time to try out one of these discs, see if the drive actually reads. Each disc gets formatted with a kind of bootloader. We can now use some of the additional commands from the ROM to see what's on the disc. And I was right, it's full of games. After much googling to find out how to load something, let's give an old favourite a try, Fruit Machine Simulator. Now you'll notice on the right there are different file types. We've got code, basic and snap, similar to most other devices like the div MNC and your emulator files. When loading, you have to say what type you are loading in, so it knows how to treat it. The S on the end of the command means snapshot. That's quite enough of that. Here's a quick run through of some of the other things I found on the discs. First up, a program for doing 3D lettering for posters and display screens. I can get the all-important self-promotion stuff designed on here now. Ah, good old Tazword. I wonder if I could write the script for my next video on it. Austerlitz by Lothlorien. Not heard of this one. I'd have been all over this kind of strategy game when I was a kid. Oh wow, could this be an early Spectrum version of Half-Life from Valve? No. There's quite a few things I've found on some of these discs do point to this belonging to a teacher, which explains all the work they put into it to make it into, I guess, a power system. This programme seems to be grades for GCSE year 1989, and if we have a look in the listing, it's full of student names and their grades for different subjects. If we change the character the code looks for on line 520, which at the minute is R, which is for woodwork, then we can print out the grades for any particular subject. This definitely belonged to a teacher. The Artist 2 was an excellent package, and here you can see it comes with a sprite designer too. Sadly no, I don't have an AMX mouse. I bet there were many games designed with this back in the day. Back in the main package, it looks like on this disc there's just a few demo pictures. I wonder if I'll find more things on some of the other discs I've not looked at yet. Here's the few screens that were on this disc. Seems like a couple of test pictures and a certificate. Well, that just about wraps up part 1 of the wooden Spectrum. I've got big plans for this. The poor thing's looking a bit sad for itself at the moment, but there will be a part 2 where hopefully I'll make this machine a lot nicer and a lot more usable, and we'll see how we get on. Thanks for watching.